I didn't make it in time. Good morning. Check, check, 1, 2. Hey, hey, hey. What's up, everybody? Yeah, I decided to go live this morning. Not sure why. Maybe we'll put a link out. I was pouring my coffee in my trucking mug. By the way, you want to sign on to a great company. Liketrucking.com. Anyways, figure we go over a low board thing or two and check things out and maybe talk about perseverance, and that's what's going to get you through anytime, whether it's good or bad, really. So anyways, let's adjust this here real quick. Boink. All right, there we go. It is a wonderful cold morning, and it's great to have good friends, because I had a couple of friends call me yesterday. They were concerned. One tried to give me some work that it didn't work out, because of my $4,500 truck bill that I just got. So, but eventually we'll get rolling. This week's a no-go. There's ice storms south of us all day. If you're in Dallas, Texas, man, you're hating life right now. The ice storms are pretty bad. So let's bring up the weather here real quick. Let's bring up the warning map, because that's kind of important. And I'll kind of give you a strategy that I use. So if you're down in that area, you're kind of screwed, because they are not equipped to handle that kind of stuff. Ice is hard to handle anyways, right? It's Sean, I like that comment. But by tomorrow afternoon, this will be all good. So a lot of the temperatures will finally raise and everything will settle down. So that's kind of what I'm counting on, because I got a truck coming back to Arkansas. So yeah. So let's go over some comments here. Let's unshare the screen. Just know that if you're in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, you're screwed. Just pay attention. Let's see. Don Schonger, good morning. Hello. David Edwards, DPG, another one. Yes, I know. I go live too much. I feel like that sometimes. I feel like a lot of times I talk too much, and not enough. I don't know. That's kind of a weird thing, but it's true. And we can't have this be a 2-hour live feed, because I do have work to do, and I have to go get my new glasses, and do a little bit of shopping, because I don't have any food. Now you're spoiling us, says WCF. I'm gonna call you Invader just for now on. This Trucking Life. Good morning, Metalheads. Red Diesel, good morning. CDN Snorelord is on fire this week. Good morning, Steve. I don't think I'm on fire. Alfalfa loves the guitar riff, or at least indicates so. Big Breakfast in Indy OC makes 65% look appealing. I like their breakfast. Back in my carb days, they had them and the Dallas, which is now a little bit south, have the best breakfast burritos. I'm a recovering breakfast burrito addict. And the OC there in Indy, they had good ones. I don't know if it's the same people or not when I was there, but I don't know. I'm surprised COVID didn't take a lot of those out. Desert Okie Pam, good morning. Greg Zimmer, good morning from Idaho. Just want to punch a crash symbol right now. Yeah, that's a good thing to have. Flatbed trucker, what's up, everyone? What better way to? Oh man, thanks for the super chat. What a better way to wake up than a super chat. Best dispatcher ever if you're struggling to reach out, Snorelord. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. More and enjoy the positivity. It's interesting people's perception of me, right? There are some people that say I'm too negative, and then there's some people say I'm too positive, and then people enjoy the positivity, and I'm like, meanwhile in my head I'm somewhere in the middle. Like I'll tell you what's real, but I'm not gonna like be down about it. It's like, yeah, rates kind of suck right now, but you know what? Here's how to deal with it. Here's how I deal with it. That's all you can do, right? Um, and to say, well, the rates suck right now is a negative comment, but it's a real comment. It's look, they're lower than they have been in a long time, and that's affecting everybody's profit margin. So it's interesting how people perceive. Like some people like the beard, and other people say I look like a scraggly homeless guy. And then you want to say, well, what do you have against homeless people? So it's just it's social media, man. It's all stupid. It's all stupid, right? There's my negative comment of the day. Mike Nine Toes, you're late. So am I. So am I. I started late. Mr. Charles. Oh, CB, let's go back to this question. What would be your top 5 states to move to if you're a company driver? That is easy. Missouri, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. There you go. Those 5 states. Yeah, did I do that right? Oh, that's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6. If I had to decide between Wisconsin and Michigan, I would probably pick Wisconsin. But um, plenty of cities right next to the interstate. Plenty of if you go from east to west for a company, you go through the house. Freight always comes in and out of those states, so it's easy to get home. Like if you lived in, like, say, I don't know, Butte, Montana, you're at the mercy of whatever locals going on there if you ever want to get home. So I would say Arizona, but only if it's not a spot market based company. Arizona could be on that list as well. But as a company driver, those Michigan and maybe Iowa, but Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Missouri, especially Missouri. Mr. Charles, good morning. Buck Brown, you talk so much because we listen so much. Too much. I don't know. It's not so much particular state. I'd say more of a region, all depending on the type of trucking you want to do, and that's true too. Yeah, if you're flatbedder, I would say Texas, Georgia, Mississippi, and Arkansas. If you're a container driver, anywhere near the ports. But so it just depends. Yeah, I mean, fate's right. Just whatever you want to do. On a serious note, I'm making a switch soon. Hopefully, we can chat and Matt to go over numbers. I got a stellar driving record. Absolutely, Sean. Seek me out. I'll be at the Thunder Funding booth. I'll be pretty easy to find. So, King's Transport, these Miami rates. Yeah, don't. Yeah, look, there's a point during the winter. It's usually like late January, all of February, that you like, you know what? I'll take a lower rate to go down to Miami because that way I can get above freezing. I'd say it's more about what city to move to. That is absolutely true as well. And what trucking companies are around that city. Like Springfield, we have a lot of big and small companies. You have Prime, of course. You have IWX. They have a terminal here. Ozark's got a terminal here. CFI's Joplin. You have, Transland, RBX. We've got an Old Dominion terminal. We have, there's a couple of FedEx terminals here. So it just depends on what you want to do. So I'm just curious about what people think. Pigtail, what's up? I'm glad you survived the ice. You really helped my perspective with the conversation you had with me last week, and the value you gave me is worth much more than those super chats. But all I can afford currently. Thank you. You're welcome, Invader. Anything that I can do, and I that's what I try to do. Look, if you get a phone call with me, it's not just what can I do for you, and maybe that makes me a horrible salesman. I'm like, what can I do for you to help you do for yourself? That's kind of how I approach things on everything. And look, times are tough right now, and so it's important to have a decent strategy. And since I've been in this game a while, I know what strategies work and how they work. And there's not one strategy better than the other. Other than keeping moving, whether that's long haul, short haul, that's just dependent on your needs and what you want and what your costs are and the whole 9 yards. And what I want to start doing is I want to start doing helping people do, because how can I say this nicely? There's a vast majority of owner operators that truly don't know what their true costs are to run your operation. And so I want to open people's eyes on that math and how to do that. So what I have in my head, I don't know when I'm going to implement it, is to have a whiteboard kind of thing where I could show it on the screen and somebody call in or somebody come in on the StreamYard and they give me their numbers, as far as what their truck insurance is, what their truck payment is, what their home payment is, and all that stuff. And we'll put it all together and then we'll come up with their cost per mile, cost per day, cost per month. And if I can do that for people and open their eyes to what they're truly doing, I think that would be beneficial for everybody, including myself. I think that would be good for everybody involved. Don, you're in New York. Again, I mean, I know Gray Big. He's up there in New York. He's a YouTuber. He runs a lot of. He runs for a company that does the big lots. He does a lot of short haul stuff. So, but I appreciate the kind words, Invader. I really do. Um, I live near Menominee, Wisconsin, halfway between DIY and Cash is King. There you go. I used to go up to Menominee all the time. There's a great truck stop right outside that Walmart DC. I used to like going up there, especially in the summertime. It was pretty nice up there. Morning, bro. How are you? I'm fine. Um, just just doing my thing, right? I-80's been a mess out west, and as per usual this time of year, and it's vastly affected my me and two other people's businesses this week. I mean, in my circle, I'm sure that there's been a whole slew of people, and then and it just shows you the level of driving skills that people have nowadays. So it's just that you can open I-80 for an hour and then somebody wipes out again. Spreadsheet confessional truth. That's a good title. Spreadsheet confessional. I like that. Because, when I hear see, here's the thing, right? And YouTubers love to say that phrase. Here's the thing. Watch any YouTuber and see how often they say here's the thing. Fuel alone right now is running between 40 and 70 cents a mile by itself. Depending on the fuel efficiency of your truck. and also where you're getting fuel at. So if you're constantly running the West Coast, you're probably paying closer to 60 to 80 or 70 to 80 cents a mile for fuel. Because between all the mountains and the stop and go traffic and the high fuel prices out there, whereas if you're bouncing between Wisconsin and Missouri, who's got the cheapest fuel with light loads, your fuel cost is at least 60 or somewhere around there. And so when people tell me fuel their cost per mile is below, like right at $1, then I think that there's some incomplete math there, because even as low as my costs are when I'm running full time, even my costs are not at $1. And so what happens with the danger with that is, and look, I get it. You guys got to realize I speak from experience, that I was not the spreadsheet guy. I was not the let's download, a computer program or use Truck and Office. I was not that guy in the past. And I just winged it. And then I wondered why I was broke. And it wasn't until I put, I don't want to learn a new computer program. Jeff was pushing the Truckin' Pro, which is an excellent program. And I was like, well, at least let me put pen to paper. So I grabbed my Landstar, settlements that I could barely read, and just wrote down just generalized everything. And then I wrote down the repairs of the truck payment. I combined everything and realized that I was going in the hole. Even though my bank account and deposits didn't really reflect that. I realized I was paying nearly $4,000 a month for a truck that had 800,000 miles on it, and I didn't trust it to go across the country. I had to be careful where I was going in the summertime, because I had a tendency to overheat. I wasn't on top of my maintenance. So when I tell you guys and gals things, it's because I screwed up. I messed up. It's only a miracle that I made it as far as I have. And so a lot of it's like, don't make the same screw ups I did. And and Pigtail says, let's get honest with ourselves. That's one of the most important parts. And I think a lot of people avoid their numbers because they don't want to know the truth. They don't want to know that they're in the hole $1,000 a month, and eventually they'll go out of business. They don't want to know that. They just want to, like, la 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 la, plug your ears, close your eyes, and bitch about the rates. That's easier. And I think that if most of people did the true math, because here's the thing, the truth will set you free, right? So once I figured out that my truck was costing me as much as a Schneider Finance truck, but I wasn't running like a Schneider Finance person has to run, I knew that eventually that was going to put me under. I was going to fall under the same traps that many of my friends over at Landstar fell under. I was patterning myself after them. And this is not a knock against Landstar, because Schneider, their settlements were a lot simpler. They were weekly, regardless of what they were, whereas Landstar switched, like one expense was weekly, one expense was monthly, one expense was bi-weekly, one expense was, it was hard to keep track. But if I had been on top of that in the beginning, I may have figured out which was which on the settlements. I would have figured out that, wow, I'm wasting $20 a month on comm data fees alone. And by recognizing that, so at Schneider, that's when I was at Schneider, that's when I finally put pen to paper and was like, oh crap. And realized that I needed to do something about that truck. Because if I have, if I'm having, in the 4,000 a month was the 2,000 was for the truck payment, and the other 2,000 was the general maintenance that was occurring, maintenance and repair, because I was not proactive on my maintenance and repair. I mean, the truck was safe, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't like, I was still doing my preventive maintenance, but once you get behind and you're chasing things, that's a bad day. That's kind of what I'm doing with this truck, because dispatching is not supporting this truck with the repairs that I've just had. And now there's no risk of blowing my turbo if I'm not running the truck, but then, trucks rot, trucks, plastic cracks, rubber rots, and so there's a fine line, there's a balance that I got to try to find. And so my cost per mile is all jacked up. So because I'm not running miles, but my cost per day is still there. So that's why they're both important. And if I can help somebody not make the same mistakes I made, then it makes this industry better. Because then you could survive all the roaches out there. You could survive above the sadistic, no moral business people that are out here. The ones that will burn you in a second to get that load before you do. If you know your numbers, that is armor. That's a weapon against, knowledge is a weapon against the ignorance. And if you can accomplish that's important. And I was in your shoes. If you're not the kind of guy that tracks your expenses and you just go by your deposit slips, I was once like you. I'd sit there with $5,000 in my bank account. I'm like, sweet, I'm going to take the rest of the week off. And in hindsight, that wasn't working. Stuart brings up another point. It goes both ways, not just knowing your cents per mile, but also turning down good loads because you don't know what you need. Right? And that's the thing. I once had a conversation with somebody. This was like a few years ago. Someone called me and goes, hey, man, I booked a load. All right, cool. What'd you get? Because they were new in the spot market. I got a load to Florida. Oh, what'd you get? Oh, it's a crappy rate, though. What do you mean it's a crappy rate? How do you know it's a crappy rate? Well, that's what so-and-so told me. I'm like, yeah, but how much was it? And he told me the rate. And I said, well, I mean, that's not bad. It's not like you got reamed or nothing. You're new to this negotiating. It's not a big deal. Well, so-and-so said this is a horrible rate. Okay, so what is a bad rate to you? I don't know. Well, what's your cost per mile? I don't know. Well, then how do you know it's a bad rate? How do you know it's a good rate? The rate is the rate. That's what you agreed to. Whether it's good or bad depends on how much your costs are. How much are your costs? Well, I think my truck payment is this. My insurance, I don't know. I'll have to look. And to this day, this person does not do those numbers, and he went out of business. And so you see these debates on Facebook all the time. What is cheap freight? Well, it's cheap. Okay, but what is cheap? That's a constantly moving target. Now everything seems cheap because we were back making, $3, $4, $5 a mile. Now we're down to $1.50, $2 in some areas. Or at least that's what they're trying to push. So what's the rate? So you could be passing up all these good loads that are a good rate for you if you actually knew your number. Because here's the reality of the spot market right now. Are you going to lose a load over $25? Can you afford to lose a load for $25? Because that's the situation I find myself in. And I've been here before. I've seen this rain before. I've seen this storm. I've lived through these storms before. Now, we could sit there and say, well, it's different this time. Well, whether it's different or not, whether it goes longer or not, whether things change on the other side of this, who knows? But what's right there in front of me is there's opportunities still to be had, and you got to get out of your own way. And part of that is knowing your numbers, knowing what you need, and having the be able to discern from what you need and what you want. We all want $3 a mile on everything. Hell yeah. But the more money we make, the more everybody else wants it. The fuel, the truck repairs, the truck payments. And there's a large majority of people that got into this industry, got a truck from a leasing company like Schneider or Prime or something like that, where they lay all these things out for you. And then when it comes time to do it on your own, you don't. Or you didn't learn how to do it for your specifications, not to like Prime specifications, right? At Landstar, this is the thing with Landstar. In my orientation, they actually went over these numbers. It was a whole day. They had this check sheet. There's 8 people in this class, and they went over every single, okay, what's your home bills? What's your car payment? What do you need what's your truck payment? What's your trailer payment if you own one? What's this? What's this? What's this? And you had to write all this down. And here I was learning from this, but I didn't implement it. I wasn't disciplined to follow it to the T. And mainly because my home expenses is just one thing. It's just, the wife needs one lump sum from me every month. And so that made that part easy. But then my truck expenses, but they still didn't, so they hand you this card, right? They hand you this card that gives you the 100% number to the 65% number so you can look at it, and then they would try to teach you things like, well, just because a load's below your cost doesn't mean that you're not making money. Or just because you're right at your cost, because if you've included everything in your cost, the profit is there. And And still I didn't learn. Still I was like, oh yeah, that's a good concept. That's a good idea. But was I disciplined about it? No. And then when I met Jeffrey Light, he was promoting a program at the time called Truckin' Pro, which is the same program I now promote. And all of a sudden, life changed. I was so impressed that he was able to show me his numbers for the last 3 years at Schneider to prove that Schneider was a good move from Landstar for me. And and it wasn't until, but still, a year in the Schneider with my Peterbilt, I still wasn't measuring everything. And then one day I put pen to paper because I was bored and frustrated and stressed. And I realized that I needed to do something. That's when I bought Mean Green back there. And then I downloaded Truckin' Pro. I created a business account. I became official. Something I should have done right out of the gate. But that's how we learn. That's how we become better. And luckily, my failures didn't cost me my entire business. It could have. It easily could have. It still could. So, anyways, let's go back to the comments here. Quick Trip loves and Scenics. I think Quick Trip is the one I like. Good morning, Snorelord. Waiting for the Dallas roads to clear up. May not be till tomorrow there, Jerome. Just start my day, and yeah, I-80 is in the mess, but driver's ignorance, careless driving, right? Let's get honest with ourselves, right? Had someone tell me the first half of the week paid the business bills, the second half of the week paid home bills, I think that's the reason why he failed multiple times. Look, you can use that approach as long as you know your numbers. There's a few people that will run their arse off for the first 2 weeks when everything's paid, and then they can kind of slow down towards the end of the month. Do the shorter stuff or get through the house or whatever, and then you're still good. But unfortunately, in this down market, you kind of can't do that. It's kind of tough to do that. Steve, couldn't you create an owner-operator spreadsheet on Excel or Google, and then your guest provides their numbers as you enter the data? The costs are displayed based on formulas created. You can share screen. Yes, and Big Rig CO has one of those kind of spreadsheets. But the reality is you really don't need. I mean, look, if you want to put pen to paper, we can do that. It may not calculate cost to the down 10th of a cent like Truckin' Pro, but you know what? Most people don't even put pen to paper. That's funny, Pigtail. He's being silly. Snorelord, do you know numbers mean nothing in this trucking game? LOL. Math is too hard. Knowledge is power. James Clark. I figure my fuel costs high at $1 per mile and my cents per mile. Since fuel is a fixed variable cost, it's been working for now. And that's great because as long as it doesn't go above $1 a mile, you're always going to be safe, right? So if it's 50 cents a mile 1 month because you're in the right states or you're getting better fuel mileage because you're doing light loads, then you're definitely safe. But if you budget, so that's more of a budget thing. You budget $1 a mile. And that method can work actually as well. If I actually listened to every single stupid thing that people have told me over the years, I would have been broke 20 years ago. Surround yourself with trusted people. Good to see you in here, Will Burner. Post trip, good to see you too. Knowing your numbers is like knowing your social security number. You got to know it, right? Sometimes the best route is not the shortest route. Oh yeah, I did a video on that. I was outside walking, and I did a video on that one. If it's below my cents per mile, yes, I can lose that load over $25, right? If you can keep your fixed costs as low as absolutely possible when the time comes that you need to move freight a little cheaper, you can do it, and it won't hurt you as bad, right? And I'm going to go with this. So if you're in the red, say by $1,000 a month, isn't that better than being in the red $5,000 a month by not moving, by not rolling, by saying they can leave this cheap freight on the dock, rah, 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 right? And I'm not saying move everything for 80 cents a mile. I'm not saying that, but something is better than nothing. So, I mean, it's business 101. I mean, what would a restaurant do if, like, well, Tuesdays suck. Let's just not even open on Tuesday. No, for every Tuesday that they're in the hole by having a staff there and the food cooked and everything else, they have a Saturday where they're slammed. And I know the restaurant business. I know that's how it works. So why is trucking any different? Why is any business any different? And we're in one of the most volatile businesses that you can own. Like, do you see any of those guys and gals on Shark Tank? Do you think they own any trucking companies? No. Trucking is similar to the gold rush days. Some miners made money, but the saloon owners got rich, right? Willingness and desire to implement knowledge is key to business success. That's it. There's your fact of life right there. Running a fuel efficient truck and staying on top of your maintenance will help with keeping your costs low. Absolutely. Knowledge is one thing, wisdom is better. Fact CDN. Stuart the hobby trucker. Spreadsheets are great as long as you put the information into it. Big Rig CEO used to give away a free spreadsheet. You could just download it. And I don't know if he still does that or not, but I don't think a whole lot of people took advantage of that. Hell, remember Traveloco? Everybody's talking about Traveloco. They had a spreadsheet right on their they had a cost per mile thing right on their website. I don't know if they still do that or not. I haven't paid attention to that company in a while. But you know what? I can help. Anybody who's successful right now can help. And it's not hard. That's the most insane part about it. It's not hard. Even if you don't keep a check register, grab a bank statement. Grab your credit card statement. A lot of it's just about organizing. Take all your, pay for all your business stuff with one card. Pay for all your coffee and your carbolicious pizza, and pay for that with another card. And if you do a cash allowance, pay for coffee and stuff like that, then that has to be in there too. And you just grab your bank statement, you grab your credit card statement, you throw it all together, boom, there's your costs. Add your truck insurance, add your truck payment. Now, if your truck payment varies, like it's a pay per day kind of a thing, then how many days are you going to run? That's pretty easy. And then any number that you get, you divide it by the mile that you've driven, or you average. You divide it by the days that you worked. You'll have your number. It's as simple as that. You guys are funny. That's how insanely simple it is. If you look, if I want to go open my record store, which I love to do, but I can't. Not with that attitude, Steve. But but hear me out. I would have to go to the bank with a business plan. Are the truck dealerships asking for a business plan? No. They might want to know who you're going to sign the truck on with. they might want a business reference, but you're not coming in there for a $200,000 truck loan and saying, "Hey, here's my plan." No, they just want to say the $200,000 truck is no longer their problem. That's but if I want to open a brick and mortar store, I have to have a business plan. They're not like, I can't just roll the bank. Hey, I need a loan. Why? I want to open a store. Well, how much you need? I don't know, 60 grand maybe. Okay, well, what's that going to go to? I don't know. You think I'm going to get the loan? But yet people do that with the trucking stuff every single day. You got these recruiters on YouTube trying to get people to be business owners that have no business being business owners. James Clark, my long haul rate is different than my short haul rate since I prefer long. The short is usually for to get to the long. It still has to be my above cents per mile. My day rate has to be 1K either way. That's where the daily rate really comes in, because I found that the best combination is a mixture. Do a few longer runs, throw in some short runs in between, and you're good to go. As long as you keep moving, especially in a down market. When you pay off your credit card, pay for each transaction, not lump sum. Reason is, if you use QuickBooks or Sage that sync your bank account, it syncs each transaction, easy to match payments. So there's a lot of strategies. There's a lot of knowledge. Trucking for fun. Good morning. Strategic default. Good morning, Jason. What's up? Marty, any FEMA loads on 123? I don't know. They don't just label them as FEMA loads. So it just depends. Next hurricane, Marty, look in the area of their hurricane or places going to the hurricane site, and then see how, they don't label those FEMA loads. And here lately, FEMA loads haven't been paying. They figured that out during Katrina. They're like, holy crap, we're paying $1,000 a month or a week or a day for trucks to sit to do nothing. That's expensive. We better figure something out. So, a good accounting software and regular reconciliation to make sure you have the right data are key. Then run reports to give the best info for decision making. Not only that, Music City, let's say that, you know what, Steve? I'm not technologically advanced. I am too busy to put pen to paper. I don't want to do any of that. Then you hire somebody to do that for you. You hand them your credit card statement. You hand them your receipts. Tell them what your costs are, and then they tell you that's what you pay them for. I mean, it could be expensive to do that, but it's doable, right? But if you did it yourself, that could save you, a lot of money a month or a year. For example, I am not a tax professional, so therefore I hire one. This coffee is good. Like trucking, go to the website. We're looking for contractors. What's up, Fran? You are late again. What's up with you? Quicket. Good morning from an iced over Memphis. Yeah, Memphis is pretty bad. Let's put the screen back up. The entire state of Arkansas is screwed. Almost the entire state of Texas is screwed. If you're in Laredo, you're going to be okay as long as you don't have to go anywhere. And then Nashville, Memphis area, and then the northern part of Mississippi and Louisiana, which are not equipped to handle this amount of ice. So, yeah, it's a slow roll if you're in Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and western Tennessee, and northwest Mississippi. So just be careful out there, guys, and gals. It's it's funny. My Facebook memories been popping up, and it seems like there's a weather event like this in the southern region and through Missouri and all that every year at this time. So it's kind of a normal process. Let's see. Watching morning news, seeing what the storm is going to do. I think you'd be good to go across 80 now. I think all the crap has calmed down. Now, I wouldn't want to be up here in this area, but beyond that, see what this warning is. See what that color means. There's an air stagnation advisory right there. That's interesting. Is that what that really is? Let me click on that. Yeah, air stagnation advisory. I don't think I've ever seen that. But then there's a high wind watch. How does that work? Huh. And over here you got the high wind. So it's still windy as hell. I hate wind. I despise wind. There's a video on There's a video I saw somewhere where a truck, they were stopped on the interstate. The truck just like blew over. I love the snow and ice. Run, you warm weather flip flop wearers. Yes. Don't go to the snow and don't do multiple stops. Don't do that. That's horrible for your business. Most of the loads never hit the low boards. Most are multi stops. I'm on a 10 stopper coast to coast. The pay is still average above 1,300 a day and have coast to coast return load. There you go, James. You figured it out. At the yard, probably be here tomorrow. Yeah, that's probably right. Snyder at the OCs, they won't even let you out of the gate if the weather conditions are horrible. Like, there were guys on Facebook on the Snyder page bitching about Memphis not letting them out. Well, yeah, we don't want no orange trailers in the news. And you notice in the pileups, you don't see a whole lot of orange trailers. Because Snyder's really on it about the safety. If you're at an OC, then they ain't let you go. You're a prisoner. It's been gloomy here for a couple of days. When we leave on the 3rd, it will be between storms. Going to pick up to go to Savannah, Georgia. Shipper is closed. Yeah, that's the other thing. Power outages. So Swift the same, not going anywhere. Good deal. But anyways, I feel like I've lectured too much. So when I do that, I feel like an ass. And I apologize because I don't know, sometimes I feel like I'm on a high horse, and I'm really not. I'm just trying to keep people from making the same mistakes I've made. So we're all still learning lessons, right? I'll be chasing that weather to Ohio. Yeah. I've got a truck in North Carolina heading back to Arkansas. And by the time they get through here, this should all be cleared out. I did the timing of it. Timing on the forecast is like by Thursday morning, the rain should be above freezing, and then it turns into a flooding thing. But I don't think that'll affect anything. So the worst thing is if there's a power outage and they can't get unloaded or loaded today or Friday. So, but Brian, what's up? What's up, Mr. Garner? Miss hanging out with you. I just got my cup of coffee. Good deal. It's an important topic. It is, but look, there's a YouTuber I've discovered named Mark Manson. I just recently bought a book of his. I have not received it yet. And he talks about how we think we're making progress by listening to things that like as we're learning, we think there's progress. But if you don't, like, you can sit there, and he made a point. If you sit there and read about all this nutrition stuff, but then you still eat the pizza, but you feel better about yourself because you're learning, right? And it can cause stagnation, right? So there's a lot of people that sit there and say, "Oh, I watch you, I watch Jeff, I watch DIY, I watch all you guys," and then like, "Okay, what's your cost per mile?" I don't know. Well, how's your business doing? I don't know. But man, you guys are so awesome. You're inspirational. I'm like, what am I inspiring? I might make you feel better, but unless you implement certain things, it's you're still you. And so I get it. I once talked to a person that didn't know his cost per mile, and he used to be a CPM. How does that work? If anything, you should be the first one. And I know people that came from a business background that are new to trucking. They started a business and they're doing very well. Why? Because they approached it like a business. And that's what you have to do. We're not just truck drivers making the truck payment. You got to be beyond that. You know, you're not paying for a paycheck. You got to make your paycheck. Great show this morning, Steve. No apologies. Thank you, Hot Seat. Just chilling cold northern Indiana. How's things? We're all right. By the way, what is the topic of the day? Apparently, cost per mile or cost per day or knowing your cost, knowing your numbers. The same temp happened same time last year. I have date on my phone not to be in Texas this week. Wow, that's smart, Fran. That's smart. You learn from the past. Isn't that interesting? That's great. We all should do that. All right, guys. I think I'm out. Um, it's not rocket science. You're running a business, and maybe you're a company driver going, man, I really want to own a truck. That sounds really good. I want to do that. Well, that's great, but have a business plan. Just don't go to the bank and expect to get a $150,000 loan for a truck and then not have a business plan to support it. You know, boom. And because here's the thing. Right now we're in a very, very, very competitive market. The brokers are cutting each other's throats. Drivers are cutting each other's throats. And you are against mega brokers, mega carriers. You're against the AI pricing. You're against the market conditions. You're against the weather. And so you got to be on your A game. And how do you become your A game? You got to learn from your failures. You got to learn from your mistakes. You got to learn to be better. You got to know your weaknesses. You got to be honest with yourself. And and you got to be able to calm yourself when things get tough. You got to be able to handle your emotions when they get riled up for something that happened. It does you no good if you blow a turbo in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and you don't have the means to pay for it. Your emotions aren't going to help you. Preparation, control, learning, that's what helps you. And I pray that you don't ever have to be in that situation, but if you are, it should make you a tougher person. It should make you a better business person than that truck sitting next to you watching Netflix or watching some stupid YouTube drama crap that really doesn't matter to anybody. You can improve yourself. You can do this. Because if not, you're going to get run over. You're going to get pushed out of the way. And right now, it's an incredibly competitive market. And so the only thing you can control is yourself. You can't control market conditions. You can't control the weather. You can't control the traffic. You can't control, a defective truck part. You can't control a shoddy truck shop. But you can control how you react to these things. You can control how you prepare for these things. You can control that aspect of the business. Even if you're a dispatched lease operator person that is stuck to one company, you can still control how you react to things and how you prepare for things and how you deal with things. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Strength for today, hope for tomorrow. I will probably not be going live tomorrow, but maybe Friday. Oh, and I've also got a video coming up. Hold on. It's going to talk about. It's a travel guide for the tool owners. That will be on the other channel, though. That will be on the Snorelord OG channel. So please subscribe to that. If you're a supporter of the channel, I appreciate you. I appreciate all the members. I appreciate the super chats that I've gotten today. And I appreciate the thumbs up if you can do that for me. Let's just I appreciate everybody. I'm very well blessed because of everyone in this chat and because of everyone that watches. So, with that being said, strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Bang your head. Aggression turns to screws. Later.